there, everybody. This is Magnum Pi. I'm here with Teku Golgotha, Philo, and Dark Templar, and we are Initiative Zero. So glad you could join us again for Rifts, the Devouring Swarm. We're playing the Palladium system, and we just keep getting deeper and deeper into this new adventure. How are you guys doing there, Teku, Golgi, Philo, DT?
The weather's finally getting better. It's not it's hot anymore.
We went right for weather again. This is awesome.
Yeah.
We're very Canadian.
Also, the Olympics is going on. That's really exciting, too.
Yeah.
You know, that international event.
Oh, did you see the poor guy that lost the pole vault?
Oh, I know.
Dear God.
Oh.
That said, if you're going to lose, that's how you want to lose.
There are probably a lot of pole vaulting innuendos you can make.
Yeah, the pole vaulter that wasn't using a regulation size pole. Yeah.
Well, here's our play-by-play of the 2024 Olympics.
Speaking of doing amazing up until that point, here's Initiative Zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and but if you guys have any commentary for us, please join us in our Discord. You can toss it in there. We love hearing from you. We appreciate all the comments that we get on our shows and everything. We just love interacting with the people that join us for our game. And speaking of which, we're back into our game. When we last left, you found some companions of yours that had suffered an attack of some sort. And there were also some broadkill demons that had appeared, which you handily took care of, by the way. I'm pretty sure Portland kind of shut them down, as did Senate with a force field, and I think Sir Luke ran one down. So it was pretty quickly handled. And so what we're going to do is we're going to fast forward now a little bit into the springtime. But to do that, a few things would have happened. So, Gotrek, first and foremost, you wanted that power source. You guys would have made an expedition out looking for it. And when you went looking for it, you'll have found that the truck was barely moved. The Shimarians did not really do much with it. And there were no Shimarians to be seen when you went out looking for it. I do need you to give me a salvage check, if you can, to see if you were successful in extracting that reactor.
Now, this isn't the sort of thing where working together improves the outcome, is it?
Not really. All right.
Oh, man.
So
I also have salvaging, if that helps.
You could.
Though that said, he's got telemechanics. So would he not have used that?
Oh yeah, probably. Then
It could have.
we'll just keep the roll. If you used telemechanics, you would have been fine. So that would have given you an 80%. Yeah. And you would have stacked your odds as best you could. So that's fine. So you do extract that and bring it back. And now you're going to have to do some installation. And that's going to require... Yeah. I'm assuming you're going to want to use your telemechanics again in place of using your robot electronics and or robot mechanics to do that installation. So
unless I can kind of stack it all up and get a bonus or something, but
yeah, it doesn't quite work that way. But back in your shop, if you give me 2 rolls, you have the 80% that you're looking for.
Do you want the knowledge or I'm assuming knowledge, not AI.
That's right, it's not AI. Yeah.
I should put AI into this.
All right,
thing.
and one more. That's okay. And one more.
Sorry, everybody. I'm on vacation, so I'm using an iPad on my phone here. So that's why my rolls might be a little bit...
All right, well, that one was a success. So, yeah.
That makes up for missing by 1 point on the last one.
That's right, yeah. So it's not a categorical failure. You are successful. It does take you a little bit longer. So we'll say that the one that was a complete success, like an amazing success, you rolled the lowest possible roll. That was your mechanics roll to get it installed mechanically. What took the longer time was the electronics hookup, and so I'm sure.
Makes sense.
Give me a test on just your robot electronics. It's military equipment as well,
robot
so
electronic.
you'd have a penalty of 15% penalty as well.
Robot electronic.
Yeah.
With it being military, would that be like weapon systems?
No. This is the actual electronics systems of the robot, but it's just you're at a minus because it's military equipment. So you don't quite have. You weren't trained on repairing military. Minus 15. Yeah.
That sounds going to be tough.
Yeah. I expect it to fail. You only had a 31. That's okay.
Yeah.
So it does, again, it's given enough time, right? You can probably perform any sort of activity that's necessary. This just shows that it took a lot longer than you would have anticipated originally. You could mechanically get it situated in there and get it all set and adapted and everything like that, but getting the power output proper for this particular machine, which the reactor was not designed for, that was the difficult part. And that took you the better part. You've been tinkering on that for months, getting in there. Of course, you don't have your techno wizard to help, so that was a bit of so that kind of gauges things for us a little bit. You even possibly relied on Senate to use his telemechanics to see if there was something he could glean from it, but it really just kind of took quite a bit of time to get it situated. But you do, by the time we start now, have your Northern Gun robot ready to go, right? It is functional now. Yeah, and you're no longer the slowest person on the battlefield. So.
Ooh.
Hey, and I can take 4 passengers.
That's right. Yep.
And can we assume that I just completely ignored fixing up Lord Fromeline's house?
If you want to have done that, you can. There would have been enough time over the intervening months that you could have fixed it up. Depends how much you want to.
I'm just saying that it was not a priority.
No.
For Gotrek.
No, but certainly you probably needed to step away from the robot just to, your abject frustration with the fact that it wasn't working probably built up. You needed to do something else, right? So, I mean, it's up to you whether you completely ignored it and didn't do it, or whether you just didn't make it a priority.
Right. Well, yeah, I wasn't going to make it a priority.
Okay, cool. Speaking of Fromeline and Portland, Fromeline, he pretty well becomes rather reclusive. He stays in his manor most of the time. Gotrek, if you had gone there and worked on it, you see him occasionally. He's usually reeking of alcohol and drunk. Portland, you may have joined him if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say no to a drink. I'm an alcoholic.
Okay, good. So yeah, you and Fromeline will have become good drinking buddies, I guess.
So I get my treatment for my schizophrenia and shit, or no?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
All
right. And Sir Luke, Senate, are you guys helping the town?
Yeah, I saw myself as if this is something that would even be possible. Seeing the militia, the spirit is there, but not necessarily the ability. Spending and knowing what was coming, maybe spending some time training them and getting them to be more, a little bit more disciplined, a little more skilled.
Okay, cool. So just working closely with the militia, you'll find that the militia are really just volunteers. They're mostly farmers, trappers, and woodsmen, which are the locals of this area that basically have volunteered to defend the town. You learn from them that Lord Fromeline really stays in his manor and only comes out to defend the town, and they help him. And so they haven't really honed their skills or had any real formal training.
So I will give them as much formal training as I know. But other times when I'm not doing that, I'm just kind of sitting, just staring off into the east.
Yeah, and perhaps also, I guess the four of you in the intervening time, you may have gone and visited the graves of both Rasputin and Cade, who you brought back and buried, gave a proper burial. None of you have seen anything of Sly at all. Senate, what have you been doing over this time?
Well, I would have been helping Gottridge to a point. I mean, he strikes me as being rather kind of like a cat that has now pissed all over this giant robot because it's very much his.
Yep.
But all the same. Otherwise, I'd probably offer some healing services around the town because that seems like a nice thing to do.
Okay.
And I probably would have just passively questioned if there was more worth stripping off the truck. Even something simple like if there's basic components or plating just to bolster the robot.
Yeah, you can have stripped down the truck. You could have returned there over the months and just stripped it. That will give you some mega damage materials to use for repair. Gotrek is totally able to do that sort of work. And so repairing damage to the robot or damage to armor, things like that. If you have the materials, then...
I'd kind of be picking his brain about what this thing can do and if there are ways to enhance it. Like, he's probably used to running this machine by himself. But if there's a way to throw, like, a weapons port that's maybe Atlantean size...
Well, there's a gunner seat in there, right? So, of the passengers, one can ride as gunner.
I don't know if the gunner, like, if that seat would, hold Sir Luke.
Well, it wouldn't be Sir Luke.
It might hold a normal sized person.
I mean, I don't know if Sir Luke has telemechanics.
I do not.
I might be a better candidate for that. I was just thinking if you've got like a hatch along the top, you tether him off, you give him a big ass gun.
Well, I mean, he can like sit on a shoulder or something.
I suppose that's true.
Have like a piggyback or...
Yeah.
That's cool. Portland, back to your question about your mental illness. The healer does spend time with you over a few months there.
Yeah.
Which illness are we going to treat here? It's like a whole smorgasbord.
I think the schizophrenia probably is the most important of the ones I have currently.
All right.
The paranoid schizophrenia, not just your average schizophrenia.
Yeah, we don't want to minimize it.
Yeah.
So, so curing insanity is not easy. Yeah, it'll take about 10 months of treatment in order to see results on that one. So you've made some moves toward healing there. The healer does not have a lot of drugs to control your mood swings and depression, but does make use of hypnosis and psionics to help treat you there. A lot of conversations, and so we will check back in another few months to see how that progresses. But yeah. We'll say that it's possible that you could have treated a second one. You have an obsession.
Sure, treat it, go for it.
Or they could treat your addiction, but...
Yeah, let's go with obsession.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that could be worse.
Cool. Oh, there we go. So let's see if that works there. Get a D100. All right. So your fascination with the object of your obsession, that is power, is lessened so that you can function normally, but you still really, really like the idea. Yeah, you have a normal sort of attraction, right, to power. So it's to the point where we can remove that insanity. It's going to take some more work for your paranoid schizophrenia. Your obsession with power is just kind of now more of a motivation for you, right? Just kind of part of your disposition, right?
Out of this 10 months, how many months have I done so far?
4. And so you've spent some time with the good Lord, imbibing in his ale and whiskey. And during that time, you guys have gotten to know each other a bit better. He's actually formed a little bit more trust with you, as long as you haven't behaved particularly, I don't know, erratic or peculiar. Otherwise, he might not have let you come back. What sort of stuff did you want to share with him over the course of those months? Any questions that you want to have answered about him? That sort of thing.
Well, I'm gonna first ask him about something about like how many different types of demons have we encountered here, like in this area. That seemed like those weren't your first encounter with those demons.
So he shares that broadkill aren't particularly abundant here, but he has done a lot of reading and research about them, and you've drank with him in his library. He has an extensive library. What you learn about him is that he was his OCC, his occupational character class, is actually a rogue scholar. So he's a very learned person. He has a lot of book knowledge. His personal encounters with broadkill, he's encountered some, but they're not very prevalent in this area. Thornheads, he's encountered a number of other demons, but he's not extremely articulate about which particular demons he's encountered and the like. He says that there's so many different kinds of demons that he doesn't have knowledge of them all.
Interesting. You think these demons are similar to the ones that is coming on, these different premonitions that these psychics are getting?
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like whatever we're hearing about in these premonitions, these are demons that are of very high level power. Not minions.
Well, man, doesn't bode well.
No.
So, how do you feel now that James is gone? Better?
In the first, that won't be the only time that you've asked him that question in the last 4 months. At the beginning, he said, it's a great relief. He was a plague on society, plague on humanity, plague on, he was just, there's nothing good to come of James T. And then as the months proceed, you can see that it hasn't resolved, it hasn't fixed the problem that he thought it would fix in him, right? That need for revenge has left him hollow. He's still in the same predicament that he was before, right? It hasn't really done anything permanently to change who Fromeline is and how he is, so.
Understandable. But at some point, you gotta let go. Be yourself. This is obviously not the true you. You were happier once. Can you not get back there?
Yeah, when you go to those places, and it won't be the only time you ever went to that over the last, right? It seems to make him angry, right? It seems he gets angry when you talk about how it used to be, right? How things are.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. So what is your plan?
And again, as you guys discuss plans, he wants to fortify the town. And
do you think that'll be enough? Do you think we have the manpower? Do we need like really? Is this secure? Is what I'm asking.
He says the town won't be secure until it gets fortified with, and he talks about plans of having a place for the townspeople to fall back to with, mega damage level materials to form a sort of barricade, right? Something that can actually keep them safe from an external force. He doesn't know what else could be done. He's even considered going to the bunker to see what's there, right? That underground cave that James T had brought you there, but he doesn't like that idea if he can help it.
I don't like that idea either. It's evil there.
And he's very hopeful that you and Sir Luke and Senate and Godric will stay with the community to help defend it. He saw what you were capable of at the ley line. He's seen what Senate can do, and he knows that Sir Luke is a formidable warrior that can run down Broadkill, and Gotrek now has his robot online. This combined with Lord Fromeline's ability should be enough to defend the town, he hopes, especially if the militia is outfitted with better armor and better weapons.
Fair enough. I noticed when you had gone through that portal when we were tossing James T into the rift, you're having a discussion with someone on the other side, this being. What was this discussion? It seemed very heated.
Yeah, so he shares the information about that in snippets over the few months you chat with him. Essentially, what you gather is that the being, the super being on the other side of the portal, didn't want Fromeline putting somebody from another world into their world, right? That he needed to solve his problems in his own world, almost like the guy was policing the boundary between worlds and not letting Fromeline make a deposit of James T into that dimension. And that's what he and Fromeline had words about, essentially trying to negotiate a way of removing James T from your current dimension and securing him, even incarcerating him in that dimension to keep him away. And that super being would have none of it until apparently it looked like you guys were trying to kill James T. And so the super being, as you saw, flew in and rescued him.
The super being, do you think he was quite powerful?
He has no idea. he doesn't know what he would have been capable. He knows he could. Yeah, he knows he could fly. That's all he knows.
I see. Just trying to get as many allies as possible. You may need some in this coming endeavor. Is there anyone else we can reach out to?
Fromeline says he has very few connections now. He does know someone who's currently off-world, but he doesn't know how to get in touch with him.
Oh? Maybe I can help.
And he asks if you know a Dr. Articulus.
Do I?
No, you don't.
Dr. Articulus. Well, it looks like we're in for it, buddy, but at least the drink's good.
I still know how to make this. And he clinks your glass. Cool. We'll jump to Senate. Senate, you are busy helping Gotrek in the late spring. We'll say that we pick things up near the end of April here, as you are trying to fine-tune and finally get the electronics worked out with him using your telemechanics as he's using his actual skill training. And while you are... Telemechanics is an ability that's very much like a combination of telepathy and object read. And so you're really opening yourself up to the machine. You're in a very receptive state. And you're sitting inside the robot vehicle as Gotrek is working outside on the back connections and things like that. You're kind of inside. It's almost like that scene from Empire Strikes Back when they're trying to repair the Millennium Falcon in Holle.
Yeah, and they're shouting at each other.
Yeah, you guys are shouting. Yeah, not that one, this one, right? Like, yeah, and the like. And while you're you just relinquish yourself from the machine, kind of coming back to your own senses, and what you see is a premonition. It's a premonition of a dragon speaking to a large crowd. And you recognize this dragon as one of the leading figures of Laszlo, Plato, the head of the Council of Learning. And you see him essentially providing, they look like scrolls to a number of people, and those people leaving Laszlo, heading out on the roads in vehicles, teleporting through rifts and the like. And then you kind of come back to yourself.
Huh. Could I see what was on the scrolls?
No, they were all rolled up.
Interesting. Well, I know Godrich is also a psychic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Can I stick my head out the side while screaming about alluvial dampeners? And did you just have a moment, psychically speaking?
I'll just shout back, no, I'm trying to get this damn thing to work.
And you give it a kick when you say that, or a hit with your extremely large wrench, and everything comes online. It's beautiful.
Oh, perfect. I was going to say like in Armageddon where the Russian guy's just fucking beating away on the spaceship and then he gets it going.
Sure. 6 of 1 have to...
Yeah. Why? What did you see?
Well, either the development of a postal service or toilet paper distribution hub. It's hard to say. And then I'll pop my head back in before he can respond.
I'll just think for a second and then I'll kind of
Just write it off to the mind melter being a mind melter. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't really give a shit. And I want my robot working, so I'm just gonna focus back on that.
All right. Cool. And so it is late April in 102 PA. April in Maryland is rather rainy, right? It's the April showers bring May flowers sort of time. The weather is warm spring, and you guys are still in the town of Fenton. And it's on one such morning, Sir Luke, that you find yourself doing a patrol with the militia guys, and an individual just appears. There's a sound of kind of air being pushed away as a physical being takes up some space now where there used to be air. So there's a kind of a puff of air and a bit of a whoosh. And yeah, there's a guy wearing a hooded cloak, has a staff, is standing on the roadway near where you guys are.
Is he taller than me?
No, you still have that superiority. You're good.
No, I was just thinking my father is taller than me, right? So I thought it might be him.
No.
Okay. So does he look threatening?
Well, he looks. You might chalk him up to be a magic user, kind of wearing standard magic user garb. Yeah. He's not dressed like Portland. He's not dressed like a ley line walker, but he is. He's got the staff. He's got the hooded cloak, traveling clothing, and kind of has a sort of leather satchel across his chest.
All right. So look at him. Hello. Can you who are you, and state your business.
And he pulls his hood back. You see a young man. He's in probably his late 20s. And he kind of gives a nod to you there. He says, "My name is Arik. I'm from the city of Laszlo."
Why are you so far from home?
I've been sent out to deliver a message. A number of us have been. Who's the leader of this town?
That'd be Lord Fromeline. He's in his manse right now.
Could you bring me to him?
I'll just look at the patrol and I'll go, yeah, just follow close to me.
All right.
So as we're walking, I'm going to ask him, so I presume this may have something to do with the visions that people have been seeing?
And he says, the people have been seeing visions here.
Yeah, here and every other psychic that comes through has said the same thing.
Yes, it's much more dire than we initially thought. It's very important that we deliver the message to your lord. And
Well,
what are you wearing right now there, Sir Luke?
so I am basically wearing just standard clothing, nice clothing, but no armor per se, because I could turn that on as soon as very quickly, anyways.
Okay, so tattoos readily accessible. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. All
I can
right.
see the tattoos.
Yeah, and he kind of gives you a look over and then sees your marks of heritage, and he says, "Oh, you're an Atlantean."
Yeah, I'm a Atlantean cyber knight, if you could believe that.
I could believe that, he says. It's almost like the combination of the best two things. I'm
No,
glad that
I don't
you're here with these people. They'll
no,
need you.
I don't know how best it's been. I haven't been very successful, I don't think.
And so begins the therapy session. And he pulls out a small, no, just, all right. Yeah, he walks with you and he says
I'll ask about Laszlo. Very small talk in some cases too.
yeah, he says that things in Laszlo are good, just, everyone is rather concerned about the recent developments. And so he has you bring him to Fromeline. Portland, you will be waking up on one of the couches of Lord Fromeline's salon, having spent a late night getting into his older whiskeys.
Nice.
Fromeline himself having long gone to bed. And there is a knock at the door.
It's a big knock.
Yeah.
I get up and I open the door.
All right. And there is Sir Luke and a young man standing at the door.
I look at Portland and I go, rough night?
No.
Why do you ask?
And I just have like this, not just kind of a saddish look on my face, but and this gentleman's from Laszlo. Has a message for Fromline.
Oh. 1 sec. I'm just gonna close the door right on his face.
All right, the young man looks up at you. Is he always that friendly?
He's been having some issues.
Hey, Frommy! You awake?
Okay, you start yelling about in the mansion.
Some dude from Laszlo.
All right, so you go about trying to wake up Lord Fromeline, and eventually he's roused and wakes up in a rather sour mood and glares at your chipperness and your lack of respect. And he invites Sir Luke and the messenger in. You all sit around one of his tables, and the messenger shares with the three of you what you will know to be the Edict of Planetary Distress. He says that this is what has been compiled by Plato, the head of the Council of Learning at Laszlo, and it details very much the visions that have been experienced by psychics over the past almost 6 months now. All of you have read it already. For those of you who are watching, it will be shared in the information below this video if you want to read it yourself. And Fromeline thanks Eric for the information. He finds the edict to be rather disturbing, and he will call for Gotrek and Senate and some of the other leading people of the town to come and sit and hear Eric's message as well. And so in about an hour's time, people have assembled and heard the message. And this is where I'll let you guys have an opportunity to discuss the contents of that edict.
So, would it be better to face it head on rather than waiting for it to come here?
Where do we all get gathered? Did I show up in my robot vehicle, or
if you wanted to
am I just like walking in?
I mean, if you wanted to walk the robot vehicle into town, I guess you could have, but it's kind of, I don't know, it'd be like taking the Lamborghini when you could have just, if you really wanted to have that level of show.
But I now have a Lamborghini, so I'm taking it.
Okay, if you march in, you can't access every point in town. It's rather large. It's 32 feet tall. So, you may have to stop and get out and walk a certain ways, sort of thing. But you and Senate can arrive in the giant robot vehicle if you like.
So I'm going to show up in the robot vehicle.
Okay, cool.
Bold of you to assume he'd let me in it, given how he's treating this thing so far.
Well, I'm a little bold, so. But it is, yes, for those of you who have not known, this is an NGV-7 Hunter mobile gun. It's a Northern gun robot there. Yep, so you show up in the robot vehicle.
Only hope.
Show up in the robot vehicle. All right, and you're all gathered there, so.
Do I recognize the not toilet paper scroll as the one from my vision?
It looks fairly similar. The one that he reads off of and shares with you. Yeah, he won't leave it with you. That's his kind of evidence, and he's kind of the guy giving the proclamation. But yeah, it is very similar to what you saw.
Well,
I just want to say, what's the plan here? Are we all going to try and defend village by village, or are we going to try and have, all of the weapons go to one spot and kind of evacuate everyone to a city?
Well, I think that it might make sense to, head it face on rather than let it come here. Join up with whatever forces are, going up against it. I mean, find out, get a little bit more information where it's coming from, and then, head in that direction. I mean, it doesn't do us any good to wait for it to come here, because they'll just pick us off one by one.
And the resources of Laszlo far exceed our own. So I
want to just kind of look around at all the locals when we're saying this. Basically, we're saying, hey, let's have all the guns leave this town.
Well, not all the guns, just the big ones.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, the best defense is offense. And, if we are just going to be sitting here waiting for it to come to get us, it overwhelms us. Whereas we have a larger group, maybe we get headed off before it even gets here to become a danger.
And it is possible that by joining up with this group, we could influence how this threat is handled, even to the end of better protecting this town.
Yeah, I'm game for that.
Yeah, Arik reiterates Plato's closing words that communities of the East need to prepare themselves and strengthen their defenses. Any citizen or wanderer needs to report any strange occurrences to the local authorities, particularly the appearance of new rifts or strange and inhuman alien beings. Any adventurers or champions need to take up a quest and actually seek out the swarm to destroy it. They can't be reasoned with. We are in a position of kill or be killed. So we can't just be defensive, he says. You can't just be defensive. You do need to be offensive as well.
How are these groups of champions being organized?
We leave that up to the local towns to organize, but I know that the Cyber Knights are sending scores of their champions to the coastline here. You should see more of them over the next few months, the next few weeks.
Do we have a map? Do we know roughly where they're going to be going?
Well, the eastern seaboard here is where they're coming.
Right, but I mean, is there any specific area that they're mustering?
No, not that I know of. We just know that there will be champions being sent to this area to seek out and destroy the devouring swarm.
How far is Fenton from the sea, from the ocean?
Good question. So, just going to bring the map in. So you guys are here. This, actually, let me just adjust it a little bit more. Whoa, hello. So this river right here that's emptying into what used to be Chesapeake Bay, and just west of there is where Fenton is. Over here, over here is where the cave was. It was several days' journey.
So how many days' journey would it be to the coast here, where Chesapeake Bay used to be?
Less than a day.
Well, that pretty much puts us in the line of fire potentially, directly.
Yeah, they just know that it's going to be the eastern coastline, which they full well admit could be all the way up here. They don't know exactly, or all the way down here. They don't know. But this is a more settled area of the eastern coastline. No large cities or anything like that, but a lot of small communities.
Well, in terms of defense,
why don't we head to that eastern coast?
Yeah, no, I think I'm inclined to agree. The militia has been, I think, much better trained. I think they'll do a good job defending. Obviously, we want to get whatever is coming before it gets here, or to any of the villages or settlements, but we don't know precisely where it's going to be. But honestly, if it's coming from the coast, it's as good a place as any to go.
Do you have an idea what their numbers are going to be?
The devouring swarm?
Yeah.
Well, as the edict says, there'll be enough to blot out the sun. Swarm.
Great.
Of armored demons.
Fantastic.
No.
Cloud of armored demons like locusts.
Yeah.
But that could be what results in it if they're not stopped early.
Oh, I see.
It's hard to tell.
Do we move to the coast in hopes of presenting a united front?
Well, if that's where we're thinking they're going to attack,
do we stay
I'd say
here?
we go there and take our 100 meters of coastline that we're going to defend.
Well,
or
Okay.
do we try and hunt down one of the four demons to weaken them prior to the...
This is not the same thing, though. It's the four demons are in Africa, and that's going to be after.
Yeah, the Devouring Storm is something else. But it does have a head. like it has a devourer, right? Right?
We know very little. As we said,
There's a hive mind, right? Don't we say there is a queen bee essentially. It sounds like in this swarm.
well, all the visions point to a complete destruction, even a literal devouring of the entire planet to feed
Right.
its insatiable hunger.
I feel like swarms this big need like someone to control it or something to control it.
It's possible.
And I think if we figure out where this particular controller is and a small of us goes in, we may be able to cut the head off the snake.
Possibly. That's certainly, if it's hive mind, that would make sense. But again, we don't really know.
It seems as though if it's a swarm, it has to have some action. Most swarms do.
It's possible, says Arik. We know very little about it. Most psychic things are innuendo and emotion. We don't know.
Fair enough.
If we play the Beastie Boys, do you think that would destroy them?
Most definitely.
We've
Awesome.
already had one film reference today. I don't know if we need another. Oh, I had a few, by the way. Trust me. There was some Helm's Deep references thrown out there, but I didn't do that. Trust me. I had a bunch lined up.
I rarely get an opportunity, so
I was going to start speaking in Elvish. That's what I was going to start doing.
I ignored the 300 because if they're going to be
Oh,
blotting out the sun, we're going to be fighting in the shade.
Yeah. I was so close to doing it.
I didn't want to be the one.
I did not want to be the one.
Yeah, we've got to be better.
There can be only one.
Oh,
I did it. I did it.
I did it. There, I ruined it. I did it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Initiative 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of holes hanging out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn to Fromline and ask him, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and he's been quiet through a lot of this, just listening. His tentacles are all retracted into his body. His hands are just kind of resting open palm on the large wood table the rest of you are sitting at. He stands at because he doesn't do a lot of sitting anymore. And he says, we can't afford to leave the town defenseless. At the same time, you're right. We can't just hope for some sort of bastion in this small town. If they can be dealt with away from here, that's going to be the way this town survives.
Yeah.
We need to be both offensive and defensive.
Oh, no, man. That's true. I agree to that.
And the militia sufficiently defend the town in our absence.
Well, I think they could defend it from most things that would come against it now, but the swarm, I don't think any settlement could probably defend
If the
it.
militia could handle the swarm, it would no longer be a concern.
Yeah, true enough. But I think that it could handle any other mundane or even slightly more than mundane issue that might come up while we were away.
They now know more than they did before, says Fromeline. Thanks to you, Sir Luke. And
So,
we do have some fortifications built now. We'll continue to build those. And I've defended this town for decades. I'll continue to defend it.
So then we make for the coast.
yeah. Does that mean for Amaline that you would stay here with them? Because that probably is a good idea.
He nods. Eric speaks up. I do want to impress upon you that when we speak of the coast here, we don't mean the literal where the land meets the sea. It just means the eastern seaboard of this continent.
Well, then that could be anywhere.
Not to say that not to say that the sea may not be where they come from. We just really know. I'm just trying to make sure that you understand we don't have that kind of accuracy.
Right. No, we're still semi-blind on this. But that's everyone, I think.
Yes. And what we have here in this edict is a consensus report. It's what the majority of those who have had visions agree upon. But the experience is unique to each psychic. I'm sure even your own experiences are different from each other's.
Is there I'm not going to say minority report, but is there? Do you know what some of the minority were saying is that was appreciably different?
And he kind of sighs and looks down a little bit. And he says, there are groups in Laszlo that are beginning to blame non-humans, saying that this is a result of the DBs. Those who are particularly inhuman are being discriminated against in Laszlo. I can only imagine what's happening to them in places with less decorum and civility.
Mm-hmm.
When he first says DBs, I'm gonna kind of like have a visible angered look on my face, because it's like, yeah, those fucking DBs.
Yeah, but you don't actually like say anything.
No, I don't say anything, but I just kind of like think it and be like, yeah, it's the DB's fault.
Okay, cool.
Just I'll nod in agreement with him.
Yeah. And yeah, we don't know what the swarm will be, but we do know that they are from another dimension, and that will put undue strain on our DB populations. They'll be the target of prejudice in places where they already are being targeted, like the coalition states, and like smaller communities that are allied with them.
Oh, we already dealt with Unity, so.
He looks at you and just, oh, that was you guys. Yeah, no, he doesn't say that. But
Whoopsie.
I must continue on. The edict must be shared with as many communities as possible. Where's the nearest one? And Fromeline speaks of Liberty, which is a nearby town, and tells him which direction it will be in. And he thanks you all. And one of the shopkeepers offers to replenish his supplies, which he gratefully takes him up on, and he departs.
All right. Well, I think we need to get this place as ready as we possibly can.
I thought we had done that already.
There's still some work to get done, but we're, the militia's really well trained now. I think we got some fortifications, like Fromline said, but I think there's still some construction we need to do. We might just need to kind of double our time on that, and then once that's done, then maybe we could, as we said, take the offensive.
All right, cool. And so you depart from Alliance residence, and you head out into the streets. As you approach the town square, a group of 2 men, they look like they've been traveling for quite some time. Their clothes are dirty, their boots covered in mud, large packs on their backs. They as well have walking sticks and the like. They are standing near the center of the square, calling out to people, "The end is nigh! Take care now, and prepare for the Devourer. The Devourer comes like a thief in the night. You'll never know the day nor the hour. Prepare! The end is nigh!" They're both shouting out, and you can see the look in the people's faces in the town of worry and concern.
I'm going to walk over to them because they're going to cause a panic.
You're not going to make it. I'm going to use... I've got a psionic ability that can basically remove people's voices for a
Okay.
limited period of time.
Cool.
That seems kind of an appropriate maneuver.
All right. They get a saving throw, I assume?
Yeah, let me find it. Sorry. I think it was one of the subsets of biomanipulation. Yeah, mute.
Okay. Cool. You're using it on just one of them at a time, then?
Yeah.
Okay. First guy saves.
Gross. So that was 10 ISP.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Anybody else want to do it? Sir Luke, you're walking up.
Yep.
Portland, Gotrek.
Good.
I mean, I'll be walking as this happens, but
Yeah, sure.
Is there a shop in Finton that has like places to get kind of stuff for traveling, like rations and
Yeah, definitely.
kind of other equipment?
Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
so I'm gonna go into that. I want to go into that place, and I want to get kind of stuff for like that we would need, like tents and all that kind of stuff that we don't already have.
Okay, so you leave the Doom Prophets and go go shopping. Cool.
Well, I mean, unless I'm gonna step on them, there isn't a whole lot that I can
No, that's cool.
do. Like I can't mute them. I can't, you know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And Sir Luke, you walk up to him. And
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
yeah, the louder of the two stops and looks up at you, obviously, and says, "Do you know of the swarm? Do you know of the Devourer?"
Gentlemen, you need to stop. You're causing a panic. You're going to cause a panic. If you're here, you can be safe here, but if you're going to cause a panic, we're going to ask you to leave.
Panic? These people look far too comfortable. You look far too comfortable. Don't you realize what's coming? And the other one pipes up. Destruction. Everywhere. Doom to us all. There needs to be a penance. People need to atone for their sin. We're being punished.
Well, you two gentlemen could go atone for your sins elsewhere if you're going to continue with this.
We've heard of what resides over there, and they point over at Fromeline's house. This town harbors a terrible monster.
That terrible monster has been keeping this settlement safe for years. So you're going to watch your tongue.
Watch my tongue. Watch my
Yes.
tongue. He defends them. He turns and yells loudly. He defends the creatures coming to destroy us. Listen to us. We've seen it. Yeah, go
take
ahead.
a half step forward as he's doing that and say, "Watch your tongue so it doesn't run away from you," and then try and silence him again.
Okay. That time he goes mute and he tries screaming and screaming, and he looks absolutely terrified, and his friend looks over and says, "What did you do? What did you do to him?"
Oh, can't you tell? He's listening. The big guy said he should stop yelling.
He points at you.
Look.
"You're not human." Right?
Well,
he looks around.
He's going to get as far as "you're not," and then I feel like it's been 6 more seconds, so he's going to get quiet too.
Yes, he is.
Good.
And
Good, because my threat was going to be a lot worse than that.
I figured.
What would
So
you
one
like
is
to do
one-
there, Portland? No.
One's quiet for 9
Yeah.
minutes, one's quiet for 12.
No, one's gonna get a rock through his face. The other one's.
Oh,
no, there's no need for
I'm
rocks.
not getting,
No need for
I'm not
rocks.
getting splattered. You're not doing this.
It's like my go-to, guys. It's like,
Yes, I
no.
know, and I'm not being splattered by you anymore.
it takes little to no PPE. Like,
Yes,
seriously.
I know. I don't
There's
need
no
to be-
hand signal. There's no
I'm
signal.
I'm not being splattered by your PP anymore. You stop that.
Oh,
Not
dear
yet.
God.
Yeah, red showers. Hey, I'm good.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
See a
bend-
doctor.
I'm going to bend
Yeah.
over to them, get eye to eye with them, and say, you are going to stop this now. You're going to stop causing trouble. And you're going to leave. And once you leave, your voice will miraculously return. Got it?
Maybe.
Maybe.
They look at each
You know
other.
what? Yeah, look at, and then like out of like the side of his gigantic body, Sir Luke's gigantic body, hopefully they can see my disappointed father stare and really understand what the fuck's going on here.
That's right.
have
You
that on your
just
spreadsheet?
browbeat them.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Just
You
shaking
know
his
the
head.
look.
Yeah.
You know
Oh, yeah.
the look.
Oh, yeah.
They know like you get fucked up if you do that. You think he's bad. Wait till you meet me.
You're doing that side of fatherhood. I'm on the other side going, try me. I am now standing. You try me.
And these two guys look at each other. They look back at the three of you, and they take off in the direction opposite of Frommeline's manor and run down the street, looking back behind them. The crowd, some are kind of smiling and nodding, but others are kind of looking at each other and in low whispers talking as they depart the square.
People are afraid. Makes sense. Understandable.
Yep. You should give them a rousing speech to help steel their nerves and resolve.
I'm not much of a rousing speech kind of person.
And before that happens, we call an end to this particular game, or this particular episode. So thank you all for
Game's
joining
over,
us.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. The whole thing
Game's over. No
Yeah.
speeches. Go home.
So thanks for joining us. If you like what you heard, hit like. Leave comments down below. Check out the Edict of Planetary Distress in the information below this video. And yeah, we appreciate hearing from you on our Discord or in the comments section. I'm Magnumpi. I'm here with Taiku Golgotha, Vahilo, and Dark Templar. And we are Initiative Zero.